So to start with a story that the Buddha used to tell of a jackal that used to have, this jackal that had mange, and how he observed this jackal one day running all around trying to relieve the itch of its mange. And so he saw the jackal go running into a cave, trying to find the coolness in the cave, and for a few minutes it's finding a little bit of relief in the cave, but then the itch comes right back again. Then he comes running out and he jumps in the river, trying to find some relief in the river. And for a few minutes, the water feels a little refreshing and the itch has died down for a few minutes, but then it comes back again. So then he jumps out of the river and he's lying in the sun, trying to see if the sun will relieve the itch. And for a few minutes, it does. And then it's back again. And then he's racing over to a tree and he's rubbing his back up against the tree, again, trying to relieve the itch. But the more he rubs, the greater the itch becomes. And so just all day long, he keeps repeating this, just running around frantically, trying to relieve his itch from the mange. And so the Buddha tells this story as a metaphor for us to see how we are running around all day long, trying to get somewhere, trying to get something, trying to add on something to this moment, always believing if I can just get over there, that the itch will go away. But the itch doesn't go away for very long. It goes away for a few minutes when we get there, when we get the object, but then it just comes right back again. And so the good news for us is that the mange for us isn't real. The bad news is that we think it is. And so the mange in this metaphor is the clinging at the belief in a separate self, the ego, the clinging at the belief of a thought-created me, right? That this is who we take ourselves to be, right? That I am the thought-created me. And if we think about it, of course, this is what we're always trying to make happy, is the thought-created me, right? When we're trying to solve the imaginary problems that we're always creating in our minds, is to try and appease this little imaginary me, who for a moment feels appeased, and then on to the next one, right? Or if we're thinking about ourselves in the future, we're imagining something we have to do, we're imagining something we don't want to do, right? Or imagining ourselves in the past, something we wish we could do again, or something we wish hadn't happened, right? We're always doing this as this imaginary me, right? To try and please this imaginary me. All this imagining is at its behest. And so we're clinging to this imaginary me, this thought-created me. And the thought-created me comes with an itch, right? This itch where we're always, if I can just get over there, if I can just do this, if I can just run this way, then I can relieve the itch. But the itch always comes back. And so the separate self, the ego, the thought-created me, it's very safe because we're always trying to relieve the itch instead of looking at what it is that's causing the itch. So through all these thoughts about ourselves, commenting on our experience, narrating our experience, interpreting our experience, giving meaning to our experience, through all of this thinking, it's giving the illusion of me having an experience. So there's this separate me in my head that's created through thought and the only way it can be sustained is through thought. And itching the whole time, there's this, or there's me, experience, no itching, no thinking, just being here, present moment, experience. So if we look at this as like through the lens of getting a massage, most of us, I think, like getting massages. It's a pleasant experience. When we're having a massage, of course, we're having nice physical sensations, nice touch, nice feeling, right? Often there's some nice scented oils, some nice smells, some nice sounds with some nice music, right? This is what's happening. And it's very pleasant. And we really really enjoy this. We love this. It feels really good. But then thoughts start coming in. We start commenting on the experience. Oh, this feels so amazing. This feels so good. I love this. I should do this more often. And the moment we start doing that, just this innocuous, just commenting on it, we have created now me having the experience, me, a separate me, a thought-created me is now having the experience. And the actual massage itself has now gone to the background of our experience. And what's in the foreground is the me having the experience, the separate me, the thought-created me having the experience of the massage, wanting more massages, right? Wanting more, because we're often like, oh, how can I get more of these, right? Wanting it to last. How much longer will it be? Wanting more out of the massage when we're not even here for the massage to begin with. So we've already pulled ourselves out of the experience of it and put it into the background because we so believe the thought created me that's having the experience versus what the experience is. The pleasant sensations, the pleasant smells, the pleasant sounds. And this is where we spend our whole lives, lost in the thoughts of me having an experience. I'm going to have an experience. I had an experience. I'm having this experience and this is what's happening. But keeping ourselves separated from the actual experience, and in so doing, creating that little itch. It's not quite enough. I need to add on something more to it. I need to get something out of it. Or I need to push something away. And part of the belief with, part of the false belief that goes along with this, even where I think to some degree we kind of know it's just a thought-created illusion, but there's this belief that somehow by thinking about all this, by commenting on all this, by narrating on all this, I'm keeping this me all together. The one that's actually here having the one that's actually the experience. I'm somehow keeping it all together. I'm somehow keeping it safe. I'm somehow adding to it and making it better. It's not making the massage better. We're not even feeling it anymore. We're actually creating an itch in the massage, right? Just by saying, this is so amazing, this feels so good. It's so innocuous to just be commenting on it in that way. But once the separate self, the me having the experience has arisen, the only way it can sustain itself is through more thought. So it's just got to keep thinking. And it's thinking about, oh, I can't wait till she gets to my back because, gosh, that's going to be really sore. And, oh, and don't forget to mention, last time she did something I didn't really like. And should I say something about that? Because I don't want to offend her, but I should let her know. And we're going back and forth. And we're supposedly enjoying the massage. But in our heads, we've created this itch. We've created this little discomfort for ourselves. Right? Or if in our relationships, is it adding to our relationships? Every time that little voice comes in, adds a little bit of doubt, and why didn't they return my text right away? And they didn't really quite get as excited about my good news as I thought they should have been. And why didn't they ask about this important thing that I had? They knew it was coming up. Is it adding to our relationships or is it taking away? All right, if we're working on a project, you're at work, you're working on a spreadsheet, you're working on a presentation, you're working on a report. Is the little voice coming in, cracking the whip, going, go faster, I don't want to do this. I want to get on to the next thing, right? Or don't make a mistake. They're all going to think you're an idiot. You know, this constant little commenting that's going on, right? Is this adding to our experience? Is it making us better? Or is it taking away? Is it making it worse? And yet this is how we spend our whole lives, scratching this imaginary itch for this imaginary image, and somehow believing that somehow this is all helping, keeping all this together and enhancing our experience. It's taking us out of the experience. That's all it's doing. So there's a story about this famous Zen master that ran a really, really tight, strict monastery in Japan. And every evening he would go for a walk through the forest, around the mountain, and he would always take one monk with him. And you never knew in advance who he was going to take. He would just come out the door and just pick someone, and off you'd go. But he had one rule for going on the walk. And that one rule was, you're not allowed to speak. So one evening he comes out the door, all the monks are sitting around, and he calls on this young monk, a pretty new, novice, inexperienced monk, and asks him to come on the walk. The young monk's so excited, and as he's walking towards the master, one of the senior monks whispers, like, remember, don't talk. And he's like, oh, yeah, got it. So they go off together, and they're walking first through the forest, and it's beautiful, and the sounds, and it's that evening kind of cool, the coolness of the evening coming on, and it's very pleasant, and then they come out on this kind of ledge that looks out over the valley, and the sun is just setting, and the colors of the sunset are just beautiful, and the whole experience is just, it's so lush, it's so rich, it's so beautiful, it's so vivid. And the young monk is just beside himself. He wants to say something. He knows he's not supposed to say anything, but he just cannot help himself. And he finally turns to the master and he says, this is so beautiful. Thank you for taking me. And with that, the master turns around, walks back to the monastery, and never invites the young monk to go on the evening walk again. And while that might seem like a rather a tough way to give a lesson, but he is teaching, because when the monk needed to say something, right, the conversation was already happening in the head, right? It was no longer the experience happening. It was me having the experience. It had already arisen. He wasn't in the experience. He wasn't part of the experience. He wasn't part of the present moment. He was separate from it. And this is what he was trying to teach the monk. Even something as innocuous as saying, it's so beautiful, thank you for taking me, right? Was separating them out of the moment. And we can see this, how we do this all the time. Like when we see a beautiful sunset, we see a beautiful sunrise, and because we all have phones with these amazing cameras, like we have that moment of awe, you're looking at the sunset, right? It stops you dead in your tracks, and you're seeing all the beautiful colors, and there's that feeling of peace and that feeling of connection. It's such a beautiful, rich, wonderful experience. And then so quickly comes in the me having the experience, and, oh, let me get my phone, let me take a picture of this. Right? And we're all of a sudden, we're trying to take a picture, and we're thinking, oh, I should put this on Facebook. I should put this on Instagram. I should put this on TikTok. We're already trying to make the experience last, but we already left the experience a long time ago. The moment we started commenting on it, the moment we started trying to make it last, we were already out of the experience. We were long gone. We were out of the moment. It's anything that we are bringing the separate self to, anything, it ruins it, right? Anything that goes from being in the present moment to I'm having the experience starts to ruin it, right? If you're at a party, right, and you're having a great time, right? You're dancing, maybe you're walking around, it's a lot of fun people, there's a lot of laughter, a lot of smiles, like it feels good, there's good music playing, right? It's a good party and you're enjoying yourself. And then all of a sudden the little voice comes in. This party is so amazing. This is so great. And then all of a sudden, just as soon as that little voice comes in, commenting on it, remember, it has to sustain itself. The only way it can sustain itself now is, well, what time is it now? How much longer is the party going to last? I hope it lasts a long time. We need to have more parties like this. When's there going to be another party like this? Right? We're already grasping at it. We're trying to make the party last, right? Because it's me having the experience of the party, and now I've got to try and make it last. But the reason the party was so good a few minutes ago was because You, me, the separate self was not at the party. You were there. You were in the present moment. You're in the experience of it. But the moment you start coming in with the thinking, you've taken yourself out of the experience. And now there's a little itch again. Oh, I got to make it last. How can I make it last? Right? Or there's that romantic moment maybe you're having with someone, or just a deep connection with a friend. There's that moment like where you feel it, and it's such a beautiful, those kind of moments that arise where there's such a deep connection. And then all of a sudden a little voice comes in. How can I make this last? How can I make this continue? Oh God, did I just say something wrong? Did they misperceive that? Right? Because that's what starts coming in afterwards. So a minute ago, there was no separate self. There was the experience. There was the connection. There was the intimacy. And then it's me having the experience, me, the separate self, having the experience, commenting on it. The only way to sustain me having the experience through thought, needing to add something onto the experience, or all of a sudden to fear some part of the experience. Maybe I've done something now to ruin this, right? That's the only way it sustains itself. And thereby ruining the moment, ruining what was there. And that's just on the pleasant experiences, let alone what happens on the unpleasant experiences. When we are, we're on a long plane ride, we're feeling some discomfort, our back hurts, we're having some challenge, right? And then here comes that little voice to make it worse. This is a nightmare. This is so terrible. Instead of, maybe it's a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe there's something that needs to be done, and maybe you are feeling a little bit tired. But that voice comes in and goes, oh my God, this is so terrible. This is so bad. And what does this mean, right? It wants to add all this meaning to it, and just to make it heavier for us. So while we're experiencing a challenge on one level, right? There's an unpleasant moment, an uncomfortable moment. We all have uncomfortable moments. But then we add all this layer of me having the experience of the uncomfortable moment and making it, drawing it out and making it worse. And it's so fast. The thing is, you'll never catch this beforehand. It's so fast. It's always, you're only going to catch this after it's already come out. And so we can use the itch as the calling card of the separate self, right? Not to see the itch as the enemy. It's the calling card. We know when you're having that little bit of discomfort of just that little, something's not feeling right. I've got to get over there. I've got to do something. I've got to rush. I just can't relax. Whatever that is, however that little itch is coming up, great. That's the calling card. The separate self is here. It's here. It's so fast. It's lightning fast, right? So it's here already. So we remember that. And we investigate it and we turn our attention inwards. Don't try to scratch the itch. Turn your attention to what it is that's causing the itch. Right? Recognize, first of all, here's the itch. Here it is. Something's missing. I'm lacking something. I need to make this last. I need to be somewhere else. Great, you recognize it. And then bring your attention to what it is that's here. Feeling what's here. Being with what's here. And remembering as well that whatever, all these little thoughts come in. It's like when we're getting all of our junk email, right? And when you look in your junk folder, and they always have this urgent, must open now, like it's always trying to get your attention. They're always trying to get your attention, right? As though something is so earth-shatteringly important. It's not important. It's no more important than the junk mail in your email. No more important than that. Come in and feel. Come back into what's here, right? You're at the party and you noticed, okay, I got a little excited about the party. I started commenting on it. It's so fast, you're not going to catch it before, right? You got a little excited, no problem. And then just, okay, now let me come back. Let me use the breath. Let me feel, right? Hear the sounds again. Maybe you're dancing. Let's just, instead of commenting on my dancing and did I look like a fool, just start dancing again, right? Feel the body moving. Look around, see the sights. Notice now, all of a sudden, you're back in the present moment, right? Without having the experience, the extra layer adding on it, you're here, you're present. right? Or if you find yourself at the end of the day, you come home and it's been a long day and you were really looking forward all day. I'm going to be so happy. You were itching all day long to get home to be able to relax. And then as soon as you get home to relax, right, the mind starts going, this is so great. This is so amazing. I can finally relax. But what else do I need? Oh, maybe I should get a book. Oh, maybe I should get my phone now. I should check my messages. Maybe I should go on social media. Maybe I should get some food, right? There's always, I can't really relax. I need something else to add on to it. It'll never let you relax. It's never about relaxation. It's never about contentment, right? And so just noticing that in that moment where we want to relax. We've had a long day. We want to relax. Remember, it always comes with that constriction, right? That, I need something else to add on to this moment. And just breathe and feel that, Right? Relaxing, thinking about relaxing and being relaxed are two totally different things, right? In one way, thinking about relaxing is just the way to itch myself to get away from what it is that I'm doing now, right? To kind of create the me having the experience of something I don't like and I want to be over there. But being relaxed is without commentary, without thought. It's being here. It's being present. Right? And we don't know how to relax, right? We spend so much time running around and wanting to get to that moment of relaxation. But once we get there, the itch is still there. Right? Or even just feeling those moments of anxiety that come up during the day, or those moments of stress, a little bit of fear, right? We still have all these residual feelings that are still working their way through. And so you recognize, right? Because the anxiety is like, I got to do something to get rid of this. This isn't right. I can't feel this, right? Me having the experience of anxiety, right? So you recognize it and you come in and you just feel again that contraction, that tension, that uneasiness in the body, and you just feel it and you move closer to it. And now you're here with what's here. You're present. You haven't separated yourself into two, you're back into it. And even in the anxiety, the feelings of it, there's peace when we're not pushing back on it. Like we keep thinking, I got to get past this to get to the peace. No, it's the pushing back on the anxiety that's obstructing it. But we do have to be clear, we can't keep feeding, we can't keep itching the scratch. Every time we do that, it just keeps this cycle going. We have to stop feeding it. I mean, this is the what we're trying to be mindful of, is to recognize how we keep feeding into this, to keep coming back into the present moment. Because whatever it is that's here, it can be pleasant, it can be unpleasant, it can be neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Whatever experience is happening, the moment I am having this experience, me having this experience, me, the separate self, makes it worse. It takes the good experience and lessens it. It takes the neutral experience and makes it bad. It takes the unpleasant experience and makes it worse. That is always what it's doing. Always. Experience doesn't need commentary. The illusion, the separate self, the ego, that needs commentary in order to exist. Absolutely. And we do want to make sure that when we're doing this, not to beat ourselves up. Remember, it's so fast. We've been doing it for so long. It happens. It comes in so fast. So maybe you notice yourself looking at a beautiful sunset tonight, and the impulse is there to want to take a picture of it. And there's nothing wrong in itself of that, right? But just to notice it, there it was. Oh, wow, it was so fast. I was already reaching for the phone. And you can just use that as a recognition of, wow, okay. And just pause, right? Just pause. Feel that wanting to make it last. Breathe. Put your attention back on the sun. Feel what's here. And then notice how your attention opens up to what's here by being what's here with what's here in the internal experience. It opens up. And you're back seeing the sunset again. And after a few moments, then you might decide, see what happens. Now from the present moment, yeah, there might be a wanting to take a picture of it. There might not. There's nothing wrong in and of itself of taking the picture, right? It's when it's that itch, it comes with that itch, and it's that automatic response. So we want to try and keep catching that, so that we do spend more time with the sunsets, with the sunrises, with the full moons, that we're more present for it. We're here, we are the experience with it. This is the experience that's happening, and this, me, is the experience, right? That we're not adding on an additional someone else having the experience. It's just the experience that's here. And then in being more here with what's not trying to add on to it, there might be you're going to look at it for so long and then decide, yeah, I'll take a photo. But there's not this frenzy, I've got to get the photo, now I've got to get on Facebook, or looking at the photo and thinking, that doesn't quite look as good as it does in real life. Let me try again, or let me try and put a filter on it. Now let me try and really change the experience, right? It's just, I want to take a photo, right? No problem. You took a photo. Maybe you shared it with a friend, no problem. But you noticed that kind of sharing and wanting something back, no, it was kind of a connection. Or you're with someone and you see the beautiful sunset and they say to you, what a beautiful sunset, right? Then you don't launch into a lesson about this, about the Zen master. You just go, yeah, right? You don't add a whole lot more to it. You don't chastise them for it. You don't chastise yourself if you're the one that said it, because it comes in. Right? It's so fast, you're never going to catch it beforehand. That you just notice, there it was again. Right? And then we keep coming back. And the more that we keep doing that, the more that we stop feeding the itch, right? Sustaining it. And we keep breaking it, using the itch as the calling card of the separate self. The itch is the result of the separate self. The separate self is always lacking. It's always lacking. It's always missing something. It's always needing to get somewhere. So the more that we can keep breaking that, right? And even though every one of those thoughts comes in with the sense of urgency, it's so important, and we start to realize they're not important. They're just thoughts. They're just thoughts. Got a million, you're having thousands of them every day. Often the same thoughts, again and again and again. And the more that you start to see that, and you keep bringing yourself back, the more faith you have in the present moment. And the less faith you have in the separate self. You start to trust this more than you do the separate self. Because we do trust that so much. We think every thought that's coming out is a fact, that there is this separate me that is real, and that it's somehow helping or adding to the experience. It's not. It's not helping the experience in any way. So for us to be more mindful of just that itch, I got to get somewhere. It's over there. Once I get there, I'll find it. Because as soon as you get there, the itch will go away for a few moments. And the only reason it goes away is because the separate self went away for a few moments because you got there. But then it just starts right back up again. And then off you're running to the next thing. And so the more that you can be mindful, be aware of this happening, and to keep using that itch as the calling card of the separate self to go, I've got to direct my attention inwards. Feel and be with what's here. And notice how all of a sudden there's a sense of ease, there's a sense of peace again. And sometimes there will be something to do, there might be something to do, but you're not doing it with this idea that I'm just, this kind of nervous itch, always trying to not doing it with this anxiety of needing to have the itch fulfilled. It's just you're going about life without an itch, without the itch. It's not necessary, right? Each of us is the experience. The experience doesn't need commentary. If I'm getting a massage, you can feel, you can hear, you can smell. It doesn't need any commentary. And we can apply that to every part of our lives. It doesn't need the commentary. The illusion needs the commentary. The separate self, the ego, needs the commentary. You, that is the experience, doesn't need it. So to be more mindful of that, to be more on the lookout for the itch, that maybe this metaphor of the jackal with the itch kind of hopefully can be an anchor for you to catch yourself the next time you're running around trying to outrun the itch. You're never going to outrun the itch. You're never going to outrun it. Use it as a cue to come in, to feel your experience, to be with what's here, and notice how when you turn inwards to the experience, whatever that itch feeling is, instead of trying to use something on the external to make it go away, notice how when you come into it, how all of a sudden the peace, the calm, the contentment, it was here. It was here in the experience, in not fighting the experience, in not trying to make the experience last, in not believing that there was something here, a me having the experience. There is no me having the experience. Me, I, this is the experience. This is it. And it doesn't need any commentary. And it is far more pleasant to go through life without having to constantly comment and narrate and interpret and give meaning, because it just makes us miserable. It just makes us miserable. So we got to stop feeding the itch. Use the itch as a reminder. Don't make it an enemy. It's going to come in fast. It's going to always come in fast. And just to keep coming back into your experience, starting to trust this more, into the experience that's here, the present moment, and starting to trust this more than you do the illusion. Okay. So I hope that was a helpful analogy, something, again, just another reminder to point us in the right direction, right? Don't keep trying to feed the itch. Don't keep trying to scratch the itch. It's just never going to end. Oh, hi, Amanda, and good morning from Australia. Must be very early for you. It's 6 a.m. for you in Australia. Yeah, it's early. Welcome. Glad you're here. New here? Glad you're here. So Sandy, hang on. You've probably got something good here. I want to see. Why is my computer? Oh, Lindsay, I'm glad. And hi, Craig. Good to see you. Early, yeah, your fur baby's pee time. You're like my sister, Libby. She's in Laurieton, in New South Wales. She's always got to get her little dog April out before the class starts. So, Sandy, you were saying a friend of mine had a grandfather who was a Swiss mountain guide, and on his hikes with the grandfather, he was not allowed to talk. So if he did, he got a rock added to his pack each time he spoke. Good mountain guide, giving good lessons to his grandson. Yeah. It's not adding to our experience. It's taking us out of the experience. Right? That's what's so crazy. It's not adding. And the more we try and add on to it, the further it takes us from the actual experience. Right? Each moment is just happening. Sometimes there's beautiful sunrises in front of us. Sometimes there's beautiful sunsets in front of us. Sometimes there's a pile of dog poo in front of us, right? But the commenting on it, the kind of, I only want the sunsets, I only want the good conditions, I don't want the unpleasant conditions, right? That's all the me wanting the good experience. But then you get to the good experience, you finally get the good conditions, you get to the massage, and it takes 5 minutes, probably less, before you're already up in your head, having the experience, the massage going into the background, and in the foreground it's focused on the me having the experience, and you're not there. You've just taken yourself out of it. But we're so that voice Just that constant chatter, even just that narrating, that commenting, which doesn't seem like it's doing a lot of harm. But it's kind of the gateway into the, as soon as I start commenting, this is so amazing, this is so wonderful, I'm so happy. I mean, it's just given birth to it, and now I've got to sustain it. So what else could I add on to it? How can I make this last? This is so good. How can I make this last? How can I do more of this? I can take more pictures. I can add more filters on. I can send it to more people. And we're not in the, we long ago left the experience, right? Or the separate self took over in a way that covered up what was happening. And how we do anything is how we do everything. So in any way, and again, not to beat ourselves up for it, because it does happen so quickly and it's such an ingrained habit, and the conditioning for so much of us, for so many of us, in just the day and age that we live, it's just, this is the time period that we live in, which is, we've lived in a very egocentric, self-centered view for humans for thousands of years now. It's very ingrained in our society. It's just become more and more and more amplified. Especially with technology, it's just become more and more amplified. And so it's just such a second nature to us. We're not really even looking for the narrating, the commenting. We're not even looking for it. We're kind of looking for those big moments where we're freaking out, or I'm having that day where I'm just not feeling good, and you're running around all day just like the jackal, right? Those days when we just wake up and we're just not feeling, you just feel a little bit off, right? You just kind of like something, I feel a little off. Maybe you didn't sleep well, hormones are a little bit awry, neurochemistry, something's just a little off. Like we all have those days, right? Everything's impermanent, everything changes. We can't always feel good. And we immediately run with that bad feeling, right? Oh, something must be wrong, right? And I've got to get it better. I've got to get back, because yesterday I was so present. I was so mindful. Felt so good. It was so peaceful. I got to get back to it. And we just keep running, and this, I got to get into nature. I've got to go do this. I got to go do that. I've got to have my wheatgrass. We're always thinking, I've got to do something to try and get back to it. And then every time we rush to do something, and with that mindset, we're scratching the itch. It gives us a little moment's relief, but it doesn't really give us much relief for long. Because if we're feeding the itch, it's just going to keep coming back. Like we just think, no, if I can just do this one thing, I can feel good again, right? But that is feeding the itch. Instead of just recognizing like, oh, the itch is here. It's here. I don't feel good. Okay, I don't feel good. I don't feel great. Let me just be with that. Let me breathe into and feel that and allow myself to not feel great today. Okay, and the moment that you do that, there's a sense of relaxation, a sense of ease, right? You're not making it any worse than it is. You're not trying to, I got to rush over there. Even in that, there's a sense of peace and ease. Like, oh, I can just be with this. Fantastic. Yeah, it feels much better, right? And I'm not saying that we can't, go for a walk. Exercise is always a good thing. But not with this, oh my God, I got to feel better. Come in first. Don't use these things. Even I've got to run to my meditation. I've got to run to, don't use our practice in that way. In that way is, to try and get better. It's to try, our practice is to bring us into the experience. What's here? What am I fighting? What am I trying to push down? Who's trying to get somewhere? Who's trying to get somewhere? Oh, the separate self. The me having the experience, the separate self, the thought created me, is not happy with the experience that's here right now. It wants a different experience. And, okay, so go try and get that other experience. It's going to be happy for about 2 minutes, and then it's going to say, no. Now I want this experience. Now I want that experience, right? It's never ending. It's only sustained through thought. It's only sustained through thought. It has to keep thinking to keep itself keeping itself in existence. And it can't keep saying forever, this is amazing, this is amazing, this is amazing. This is amazing. How can I get more of it? This is a nightmare. How can I get away from it? And it keeps, digging and digging and digging, and we feel the itch and we go off running. And sometimes, we exhaust ourselves. And it's like, yeah, it worked. Okay, sometimes it does. And it worked. But then it still comes back again. So don't be upset about the itch. It's not the enemy. It's not the enemy. It's a calling card of the separate self. And it's so fast. All we can do is come in after. All we can do, mindfulness can only come in after the fact. It cannot come in before. You will never catch it. And we have to be so careful of that because these habits are so deeply ingrained. And I think is that Annette? Or Amanda, as you're saying, like society places so many expectations on us, so many unrealistic expectations on us. Like all of this is just, these conditions are so very much ingrained in us. And so no judgment, but that's what it'll do, right? That's where we kind of turn around and we go, oh, I did it again. I'm such an idiot. I'm such a bad practitioner. I'm such a loser, right? It's just like, oh, good, more, keep it going, right? It's got to keep itself going. The moment you notice it, doesn't matter what it is. I want to get over there. I've got to go faster. You're just trying to get out the door. Amanda, you're just trying to get out to feed your dogs or to take them out to pee, right? And all of a sudden there's this frenzy getting out the door, right? We feel this, oh, I got to get out before the Dharma talk starts, right? And it's like just that, to notice, oh, because what's the Dharma talk for if not to point out to us that, to be present? But then we kind of get this, I got to get home for the Dharma talk. I've got to do this. And we forget, oh, here I am thinking that it's going to be better when I get there. I'm going to finally find the experience I want when I get there, instead of recognizing all that's happening is I'm leaving the experience that's here that is really not that unpleasant. We go through ups and downs. We all do it, right? Our feelings change, our thoughts change, our emotions change, the way, whether we're feeling some comfort in the body or some discomfort in the body, right? Comes and it goes. But we don't want to fight it. We don't want to fight it, right? If you're coming to a live and you're going to be late, be late. Be late, right? Or if you're rushing, maybe you're the teacher, right? And sometimes that's happened and it's like, oh, okay, we're rushing, right? It's okay to move fast. It's okay to move fast when you're not trying to believe, when you're not believing that, because I've got to get there and then something's going to happen. It's like, no, I'll do my best. I've got to rush. I've had situations, I remember a couple years ago with Mia when she was a little puppy, and she got out and thought it was this great game right before I was coming on a live. And she thought this was amazing. Oh, isn't this great? I'm chasing after her. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to get you inside so I can get on the live. And it was a game to her. And you just had to sit back and laugh and go, okay, well, maybe I'll make it. Maybe I won't, right? No one's going to die if I don't turn up for a live. I mean, I do try to, and I know on Sunday I had problems with the internet, which is why we're meeting today. But no one was in the house waiting for heart transplant surgery or something. Like, we kind of create this context around the events in our lives as though, my God, they're the most earth-shattering things in the world. And it's like, most of it isn't earth-shattering. Most of it isn't. And do your best, right? Always do our best to turn up. If we say we're going to be somewhere, we do our best. And if we have to rush, like, that's okay. It's okay to rush, but just stay in the oh, this is the feeling of rushing. Okay, let's see if we get there. Let's see if they're still waiting for me 5 minutes after it starts. Let's see, let's see, right? And so that's where the teachings are supposed to be helping us, not to make sure that we get everywhere on time and everything goes exactly the way we think they should go, because that's where we get confused on this practice, that we think if I'm present, then that means everything should be going my way. If I'm not lost in the separate self and the ego, then that means everything just is perfect for me. People only praise me. I never feel criticism. I never lose any money. I always get the best deal. No one ever takes advantage of me. I never feel some discomfort or pain. Like, no, that is so unrealistic. That is just not the reality of the world that we live in. But with that said, 95% of our suffering is self-created. Actually, probably all of our suffering, I'm going to change that. All of our suffering is self-created. It's all self-created. The discomfort, the pain, we all experience it, right? The good conditions, the pleasant conditions, the unpleasant conditions, we're all experiencing it, right? And we're not denying the pleasant conditions. Have gratitude when we have the pleasant conditions. Appreciate them. Don't start clinging, right? We talked about last week with gratitude. Don't start clinging to it. Just, oh, this is nice. It's not going to last. But enjoy it. And because you're not getting attached, because you're not clinging, right? It actually does tend to last a little longer, and it smooths it out, right? That when the conditions change, there's not, oh, no, I was feeling so good this morning and now I'm not. Oh, something's wrong, right? There's no longer that any longer. It's just, yeah, it's changing. And this is what's here now, right? The story that we're adding on is not helping. It's not helping at all. Yeah, and Michelle, just to your point, yeah, it's that equanimity with what's here. Yeah, whatever's here is changing. Don't get attached. But I would say, yeah, all of the suffering, which is so much for so much of us, for so many of us, a great deal of our experience, I mean, really a really high number, is just self-created drama. Just always wanting to get to the next thing. I got to get over there. Imagining problems that don't exist. Trying to spend hours trying to solve those problems, rehashing. Or again, we get to the end of the day, or we finally I can't wait to get into bed and go to sleep because it's been such a busy day. And then you get into bed, and then the mind just starts rehashing the day. Oh God, you know what? I think that person was rude to you 5 hours ago. Oh God, did you say that? I can't believe you said that. Right? Just rehashing, nitpicking, trying to find ways to prevent us from enjoying the moment of being in bed, nothing to do for the next 8 hours, just to lie here. How comfortable. Maybe with Amanda, I have all my dogs lying on the bed with me. They're all there, all three. It's nice. We're all snug as little bugs in a rug, right? It's great, right? But you can see the separate self wants to come in and wants to go over everything again. No. I think there was a problem. Or what have you got to do tomorrow? Oh, God, right? So, again, the me having the experience of tomorrow before it's even tomorrow. The me not wanting a part of the experience before it's even happening. And how many times do we do that where we dread? Oh, I don't want to do this. It's going to be so awful. And then after it, we go, oh, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought. Almost always, it's never as bad. First of all, it's never as bad as we can think. We can always imagine something really awful. And then sometimes we go, well, yeah, that was, because I imagined it as being really bad, then that's what made it not be so bad. It doesn't have, the thinking isn't helping it in any way. It's not helping it in any way. And it just very much narrows our attention so that, if I think I'm going to something, I don't want to do this, and we just kind of, we're kind of frustrated around it. We're not open to what it is that is here. We don't see it because we put our blinders on, right? We put our blinders on and, you're going through the day where we can feel like a frustrating day. And we feel this kind of like, I don't want to look at anyone. I don't want to smile at anyone. I'm having such a bad day. And we get so wrapped up in our own suffering. And it's like, nothing's happening. It's just all in our head. We're just creating all this in our head. And this is what we're doing just all day long. Exaggerating bad conditions, exaggerating things that we don't want to do, imagining how much terrible this is going to be for me, right? Even though I'm not even doing it right now. Or even just, oh, I can't wait to get over there. It's going to be so amazing over there. And then all that happens when we get there, because all we've been doing is scratching the itch of getting over there, is now I want to get to the next thing, right? I've said this many times. If you can't enjoy the present moment, then forget making any plans. You will never enjoy where you're at. You can only be here in the present moment. This is all that's happening. This is all that's happening. And so I'm not saying we can't make plans, but if you cannot be present now, then don't bother. Don't bother. Because you're just getting lost in the planning, and then you get there, and then it's like, I have some friends, they're on holiday, and they're already talking about where they're going to go on their next holiday. Like, what? You're on holiday now, and you're already talking about the next holiday. Like, if you can't enjoy the holiday you're on now, why go through all the expense and time and travel for another holiday that you're not going to be there for? Right? So it's none of this is adding to our experience. It's taking away. It's taking away. And Ruth, my gosh, thank you for such a generous donation. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was really kind of you. Thank you. Yeah, and Annette, if I'm not here present, I'm there. You're here. You're lost in, it's even that little, the way that we think about ourselves, it is very often future and past, but there's a good chunk of time where we are just narrating and commenting on our experience. And we are still not here. We have gone from the experience, Meredith is the experience, to Meredith, separate self, having an experience. Right? It always just alters it. And let me tell you, Meredith having the experience is never happy. She's never satisfied. She's just, because she's an illusion. She's not real. She doesn't exist. It's just a thought-created illusion. A thought-created illusion that gives the impression, somehow we think, and Geetha, I'll get to your question in just one moment. Somehow we think it's keeping us safe. We can even say, well, okay, it's not real, but for some reason it's keeping this one here, the form, the body, the brain. All this thinking is actually keeping it safe. It's not. And this is what we should be investigating and looking at, is seeing how it's not. It's not adding to our experience, it's taking away. Because we can go through our whole lives and not be here for it. And that is the reality of what most people are doing their whole lives, not being here for it, not being here for the good moments, not being here for the unpleasant moments, the difficult moments where we could bring in some compassion and kindness and really open our hearts to what it is that's here, whether it's our suffering or someone else's suffering. It makes for a very monotone experience because it's just always filled with constriction, holding our breath. Got to get to the next thing. Oh, I got there, phew, for a minute. And then just, got to get there again. Just living in this constant fear, as though we imagine, like we walk out the front door and we're just always living as though there's a tiger around the corner about to attack us. Got to get ahead of it. Like these aren't the conditions of which most of us live in. We don't live in these conditions. This is in some ways a little bit, I feel it's a little bit of, I think, exacerbated by the amount of free time that we have and the amount of convenience that we have. In some ways, it's just, and the amount of safety that we have, that it's given so much room for for us to kind of create these fantasies. Like, I think it gives us a lot of It creates the space for all these fantasies, these unpleasant fantasies. Alice, you're here. I wasn't sure you were here. Yeah, good to see you. Yeah, and it is in learning you're safe and not in danger around uncertainty. Actually, I'm going to come back to you in 1 minute, Alice, because I want to address Geetha. I hope I'm saying your name right. Because you're asking here, you're saying you're still struggling so much being in the present moment. And just notice that, Geetha. Just the comment, I'm struggling being in the present moment. Well, I know you were trying to communicate to me the difficulty there. But I think we also carry a narrative around that the present moment is difficult to stay in. And it's not so much to get into the present moment, to be into the moment. It's to see how we keep going out of it. Because there's not a lot, you know, the present moment, you know, it's like talking about what it is that we really are. You know, who I really am, you know, really am, you know, who I am. If we're talking about that, whatever we say about it isn't it. Because it's got no image. There's nothing fixed about it. It's empty of inherent existence. That's why the Buddha always called it the deathlessness, so that you couldn't create an image around that. And so I think sometimes we struggle coming into the present moment because we're so used to living in images. We're so used to living in identities, in living in the next moment, the me that's going to be in the next moment. And we try and apply that to the present moment, and so we kind of miss the mark on it. And what's best, at least what I've found, is not trying to get into the present moment, not trying to stay in the present moment, because that's just more struggle. It's more commentary. But simply to keep recognizing when you're out. Just to keep recognizing when you're out. No judgment because you're out of the present moment. No beating yourself up. No, I'm a bad practitioner. No, I'm not getting this. Right? Because there is this sense like, I've got to get this. Like the separate self has to get this. It's not going to get this. It's not. It's the problem. It's the problem. And so it's really about recognizing, I feel that sense of, I'm not here. Oh, you know, or I've got to be somewhere else, or I'm lacking or something, or I'm doubting, whatever it is. You know, and it always comes with that contraction, Geetha. It always comes with that little bit, there's a little bit of a feeling inside of it. You know, it's like that separating us into two comes with, And so, okay. Recognize just, okay. I'm out of the moment. Just recognize that I'm out of the moment. And let me just breathe and feel what's here. And everything opens back up again. And then maybe 2 weeks later, I'm reading here, 2 minutes later, that was really good. How can I get back to that? Oh, there it goes again. Right? Remember, it's just that little commenting. I got to get back to that. There it is again. Breathe and feel. Oh, it's always coming in and coming into the contraction, I find, just breathing and feeling it. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, there's an unpleasant feeling here. There's some contraction. I do find if there's a commentary on what it is that's here and helping you to be with what's here, that's fine. Like to be in your internal experience, not commenting on the experience, how I'm perceiving the experience or interpreting, but just, okay, there's sensations here. Just breathe and feel. And just take 5 deep breaths, 10 breaths, however long. It's like, okay. Maybe there's a little bit of an uneasy feeling. because we all experience that. And again, I think Amanda or Annette, I think you were kind of saying to your point earlier, every thought, every feeling, every emotion we have is not ours. It's not my thoughts. They feel like my thoughts, but they're the same as everyone else is having. They're the same feelings everyone else is having. They're the same emotions that everyone else is having, because it's the same conditioning. It's the same conditioning. And so as we do this work, Geetha, as we do this practice of seeing what we're not, as we keep doing this, there is there is an unveiling each time that we do it and we come back into the present moment. Every time we see what we're not and we keep coming back, there's a recognizing that this is real. You're hearing my words right now. Maybe you're seeing me. Maybe you're just walking along somewhere, right? You're feeling, maybe you're sitting in a chair. Like, that's all real, right? And you start to trust this more than you trust that little voice. But there is for many of us, for most of us, this is a gradual process. It's a gradual process. It takes, quote unquote, time, because the conditioning of our culture is so, so strong. And when we have these thoughts that are not my thoughts, that are not my feelings, that are not my emotions, even as we're doing this work, they're still coming out, right? The fear. I've talked about this many times. It's like you're turning off the engine on a big ocean liner. It's still going to go forward for a while. And so the thoughts and the feelings, or the thoughts of doubt, of shame, of guilt, of anxiety, of not being safe, those feelings, right? And so remembering too, an emotion is a thought plus a feeling, a story plus a feeling, right? Because the feelings, there's that feeling of something's wrong there, and then it's the story that's interpreting, oh, this is shame, this is guilt, this is what's going on, this is sadness, this is such and such. So when we can come out of the story, because we recognize this is just everyone's experiencing this, no, I'm no different. The doubt, particularly a difficult one for us, the doubting ourselves, the feeling badly about ourselves, the feeling like I'm a loser. That is such a common thought in our culture. It just, in the egocentric view world that we live in, where everyone's trying to be something that they're not, where everyone's trying to give this illusion of how great they are and how successful they are, and everything's okay, even though inside everyone's feeling like, oh, I don't really feel okay, because there's no way. Doesn't matter who you are. If you're walking around with this little voice, it's always beating you down. It's always beating you down. So the more that we can recognize, like, it's okay. It's okay to have the fear arises, the shame, the guilt, the anxiety, whatever it is that's arising, but just to recognize, yes, these are going to still keep coming. It's been the experience here that the space between them becomes less and less and less, and the intensity becomes far less. Like, what was a tsunami, what used to be a tsunami 10 years ago, or a tsunami, let's say 25 years ago, say as I started on this path, and then, it started becoming just a big wave, and then it became a smaller wave, and now it kind of comes in these, like, it just comes in a little wave, and it's like, okay, here it is, here's the fear, right? I lived, the first 30 years of my life with a great deal of fear and insecurity and shame, and it takes a while for these things to play out, but they don't topple you over anymore, right? And so you're more easily, you recognize it and you're just, oh, here it is. Oh, fear. Yeah, you're back. Right. I was expecting you this afternoon because you haven't been here for a while. Good. Okay, here you are. Let's breathe and feel it. You don't have to get lost into a story about it, right? Because that's what I find also. The story, even if it appears, it's very quick. And you just can't, oh, there's a story with it. There's no story that needs to be with it. It's just a feeling. And you just feel it, and it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's okay to feel fear. It's okay to feel sadness. It's okay to feel whatever it is that's here. Whatever that's happening, be with it. Be with it, right? And just to have some reasonable expectations around that too, that are as we're doing this practice of seeing what we're not, it has many clever disguises. So we got to be careful of that. And you guys know that have been with me for a while, and I have all sorts of talks on Insight Timer about all the different ways the ego, the separate self, loves to invent itself, reinvent itself as the controller, the scorekeeper, the judge, the comparer, the fear, the spiritual seeker, right? Loves spirituality. We can never forget how much the ego loves to dress up as spirituality, turning this into another thing. So we have, it has many, many, many disguises, and it will catch us off guard. And so the moment you catch it, and just the moment you catch it, great, you caught it. Be with what's here, not the story. Be with the feelings. Allow yourself to feel what's here. Investigate it. Wow, got lost in it again. Okay, no problem. Because they do have to. I find it's just it's just been such a strong, the momentum of those emotions. Like if they were a part of our lives for a long time, and of course they're all around us, most people everyone's experiencing this. Unless there is no separate self, you are experiencing this in the West. You might have a little bit different ones, slightly different ones in other parts of the world, but in the West, just these feelings of being like a loser, of shame, of guilt, of feeling fake, of feeling, right? We have a name for it, imposter syndrome, right? All of these things, the more that we can, the moment that we recognize that's what's arising, just, that's what it is. And as you're saying, Ruth, yes, it is absolutely, when I'm saying recognize, to recognize, you can name it as best you can. It's just fear. And it's just senses in the body. That's exactly it. It's just a feeling, right? The emotion is the thought plus the feeling. Or the emotion is the story around the feeling. But the feeling is just a physical sensation. It might be a gripping sensation. There might be some tension. There might be some butterflies in the tummy. There might be tension in the shoulders, the forehead. Right? It's just physical sensations. So the more that we can recognize it, and the better we can name it. Yes, so as you're just saying, actually, I want to read your message again here. Is it best to name the feeling, fear, or just be with the senses? Sorry, you were asking a question. If you can name it, that's great. The moment you name what's here, it starts to damp down, especially fear, it starts to dampen down the fear centers in our brain. But don't get caught up in, what exactly is it? You can even just say unpleasant. There's an unpleasant feeling. You can, so sometimes it's like, I've got to name it, but it can be so overwhelming. And it can be fear, it can be shame, it can be guilt, it can be all these things kind of coming in at once. It's like, I can't quite figure out, what it is. And you can just say, unpleasant feelings. Wow, unpleasant feelings here. Itch. The itch is here, right? Oh, okay. Right? So yes, if you can name it, and in fact, it's always the recognize part in RAIN, right? So this is what we're talking about. Recognize, allow, right? Allow yourself to be with the feelings, give your attention, the A part, to the feelings that are here. Investigate what it is that's going on. And depending upon where you are in your practice, and depending upon how intense what it is that's going on, Either nurture, just keep bringing back more self-compassion into it, right? Or recognizing, oh, no self. There is no independent, separate Meredith. There's Meredith, the impermanent, interdependent, interconnected, arising, an appearance that's going to be here, has been here for 60 years, may be here for 1 more year, may be here for 20 more years, who knows, but we know this is going to end, right? She's an appearance. Meredith is an appearance and will go, right? But we create another layer on top of that as me, and the me having the experience, the separate self, seeing it as an independent, lasting, inherently existing self. So really missing the mark on what it is that's here. So there's something here that there's an experience happening. There's fear in the body, there's fear in the mind, there's anxiety, there's stress. If you can name it, if you can be if whatever comes to your mind, go with that, recognize it. Yeah. Oh, here's the fear. Okay, let me bring my attention into the fear and feel it, allowing it to be here. Whew, let me investigate this. Wow, what was going on a moment ago? I was just having a thought about something back there, but now that you're pulled out of the thought, you can see it more objectively, right? But you can say but that was really painful. Someone was really unkind to me. I was excluded from something. I made a real fool of myself. Okay, so in that case, we bring in self-compassion. Yes, sweetheart, that was really tough. Yeah, that hurts, but we can be with it, right? So we use self-compassion and petting ourselves as a way to bring ourselves into our experience with kindness, right? Allowing us to feel what's here. Or instead of the end being nurture, we go, oh, there's no separate self, because now it's gone. It's only there through thought. So the moment I bring my attention into the body, I'm with the experience of what's actually happening, right? What's here. The moment that you do that, and you're not wrapped up in it, there's no separate self. The separate self has to be seeing the experience from its doesn't always. Mostly seeing it from its own perspective. How is this affecting me? Instead of seeing wow, this is what's here. There's just a sense of spaciousness and ease. You're still here. You're having the experience. You're just not adding on an additional experience. And so you can see, oh, that thought created me that was freaking out a few minutes ago about that problem I imagined I was having, but actually now I'm seeing I'm not having because I pulled myself out of it. I don't feel as freaked out anymore. I used the practice to help me come into the experience with what was here. And I can see now, oh, it's only there in my thoughts. It's not real. It's not who I am. It's not who I am. So the acronym RAIN as a mindfulness tool, recognize, the A can be accept, allow, bring your attention to what's here. I for investigate, and then the N can either be nurture, and sometimes that's what we need. Maybe something really tough is going on and you just need to keep nurturing yourself. And then sometimes no self, no separate self, no independent separate self. You're still here, you still exist, just not this separate identity that you've taken yourself to be, this voice that just walks around with you all day long, chattering in your ear, interpreting your experience, commenting, narrating the experience, giving meaning where there's no meaning, and just making you miserable. And cracking the whip, like giving you that itch, then I've got to keep going, I've got to try, it's telling me to do this now, it's telling me to do this now, right? And you start to see, that's not me. That's not me. Because, what we can say, Meredith, the experience Meredith, the appearance Meredith, has thoughts, feelings, emotions, can see, can hear, can smell, can taste, can, did I leave out one? See, hear, smell, touch, right? Has touch, feeling. This is all that's here. And Meredith is arising, interdependent and interconnected with what's happening in the weather, whether the internet connection is happening or not. I mean, had the Starlink not gone out on Sunday, we wouldn't have been meeting today. We would have been having this call on Sunday. And Melissa, maybe we wouldn't have seen you, or Ruth, or Annette, or Amanda. So, we're arising right now, right? And I'm saying these words because I see Melissa's message in there, because I see Ruth's message in there. So you're affecting the words that are coming out of this mouth. That there's nothing here happening independently. That Meredith, this appearance, is just arising, interconnected, interdependent, and changing moment by moment to moment. There's nothing to hold on to. So if there's this moment of fear that arises, what the separate self wants to hold on to it, make some big identity out of it, and oh, you're such a loser, and oh, your life's going to suck from now on, and this is going to be horrible, and what are they all going to think about you? That's what it wants to do. But the more you say, I'm not that, you're able to let it go. And yeah, maybe it doesn't mean that you don't mess up, and mess up all the time. We all mess up, right? It's that we have a moment, something stupid comes out of our mouth. Maybe I tell a joke on a live and it didn't quite land the same way, or I messed it up in some way, and it's like, yeah, okay, not your finest moment. Everyone has this experience. This is not unique. Like, we kind of think, oh, I'm such a loser, I shouldn't have done that, right? And it's like, no, this is just the experience. Sometimes the conditions are good. Sometimes the words are coming out well. Sometimes they're a little bit off. The conditions are changing. Sometimes we get praised. Sometimes we get criticized. Sometimes we win. Sometimes we lose. Sometimes we feel comfort. Sometimes we feel discomfort. Like, this is everyone's experience. And so there's nothing here in the reality of the appearance of Meredith, which is an appearance, not an inherently existing being. The appearance of Meredith, there's nothing here to hold on to. There's nothing outside of me. We always look outside and we go, yeah, everything's impermanent. I can't hang on to the good feeling of the chocolate cake, or the good conditions, or whatever it is, the good holiday, the promotion, whatever it is. We're like, oh, you can't hold on to any of that, right? Right, because it's all changing. But there's nothing here that could hold on. There's nothing solid and independent here that could hold on, because what's here is changing just like everything out there. Now, there's sentience here, and we have the experience, yeah. And we have memory, and we can think in the past, and we can think in the future. And that is a wonderful thing that we can do. But because of this way of thinking, because we think I can imagine the future, we have imagined ourselves into a separate existence, as though somehow there's something solid and independent and inherently existing here. That thinking has kind of created this, that there's this assumed, because I'm thinking about myself, I must always exist. Just because I'm not thinking about myself as the separate self now, it doesn't mean I'm not always there. But before you're having the thoughts about yourself, there was no separate self there. It was just awareness. I mean, that's the best, and kind of the best term that I feel kind of describes it. There's just awareness. And seeing that like we did the talk a few weeks ago about, like, it's all just shifting sand, but we are also the shifting sand. We have sentience, and we can think. And so we can think about the future, and we can plan. But we've gotten confused thinking there's a thinker behind it, thinking there's a planner behind it, as opposed to just using, thinking, okay, yeah, that might be nice. Okay, done with the thinking now. Had to make a plan about something? Okay. And now the thinking goes away. But even in the thinking itself, not this, we always, but am I going to be happy? Is this thought making me happy? Is this going to be good? Is this going to be perceived well? There's none of that grasping at it. There's no clinging at it. Clinging of the separate self. So there's no itch. Right? There's the seeing of reality that is just ever-changing, everything in this universe, interdependent, interconnected, including what's here. This appearance is just an appearance. It's the sand shifting together. So far, 60 years. We'll see how many more years it goes on for. But it is just an appearance that has come into existence, and then it's going to go out of existence. And it is changing constantly. Don't get attached. This is, when we get attached to the good feeling, it's going to change. Don't get attached. When we have the unpleasant feeling, don't try and push back on it. It's not going to last. But as I said before, I think while we do still experience changing conditions, we will always experience changing conditions. It's not this, oh, look, I was praised, this is amazing, and then, oh no, I was criticized down here, oh my God, my life's over, right? We don't go from these extreme ends of the earth to the other. It's just, oh, that was happening, nice, you get some praise, someone says something nice, they say, hey, Philippa, nice outfit, you look great today, thanks, right? Enjoy it, right? Someone was saying something nice. It's just, oh, that was a nice feeling. Yeah, stay with that in the heart. Like, yeah, that was nice of them to say that, right? Don't make an image, oh, I must look really good today. Oh, look at me, right? Instead, it's just, oh, it was a nice feeling. Yeah, that was really nice. And then when someone says, oh, what'd you do to your hair? Instead of freaking out, you're like, oh, I guess I did something that doesn't look so good. Oh, well, what can I do? You don't let that get stuck either. And so it's living in the flow of reality, because reality, the nature of reality is that all of this, whatever we can be perceiving here, is always changing, including you. There is nothing to hold on to. And then it's again, the thoughts, think the separate self, the ego, the little me, the thought created me, right? Created through thought and believed to be something solid and real and lasting. Right? That's what gives us all the fear and the panic and the believing we can hold on to something. But then you notice it, you come back and you feel, and you're just, oh, there was nothing here to hold on to. You're just, every moment is happening. And again, you can be thinking about something. What do you want to have for lunch? You have an appointment at 3:00. There's something you want to go to the gym. There's something you want to do. Like, okay, no problem. Have the plan. Don't get attached to it. Don't believe, well, if the plan doesn't go the way I want it to, then something, then that means something's wrong or I can't be happy, right? It's like, have the plan and then we'll see. Let's see what happens. Maybe it works out. Maybe it doesn't. Most of the time it does tend to work out, but for those times when it doesn't work out, you're not thrown off kilter. You're like, oh, change the plan. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen now. Change the plan. Oh, got a flat tire. Change the plan. Oh, missed the flight. Change the plan. Because, we kind of think, oh, the separate self's always imagining, no, life's going to, if everything just goes my way, if everyone does what I want them to do, if everyone treats me with respect, if everyone responds to my texts immediately, if I never feel any discomfort, then I can be happy. Like, we set up these ridiculous, unrealistic parameters about happiness. And then we use our spiritual practice to say, well, if I'm present, then all these things should be happening. No. It just means you kind of flow through life. Like, yep, good conditions are here, nice, have gratitude. Right, now they've changed, okay, no problem. But most of it is self-created suffering. Most of our experience is just mundane moments. Majority of our experience is mundane moments. We have the little highs over here, and we have the lows. When we lose someone, something really difficult's going on, we've got some illness. And we have the highs, something exciting is going on, you're getting some recognition, you just got a big bonus, big tax refund, something, right? We kind of have these, on the outer edges of this kind of, on the outer edges. The majority of our experience are just mundane moments. Just mundane moments. Not a whole lot going on, nothing exciting. You're paying the bills, you're cleaning up the dog poop, feeding the dogs, taking them out to go to the bathroom. showering, doing your hair, doing the laundry, preparing food, doing the dishes, doing whatever your job entails, like even in your job, whatever it is, big chunk of it might be mundane moments, right? So most of our experience is mundane moments, but we tend to be pushing back on all those moments because we think, I should only experience the exciting moments. I should only experience the happy moments, the great moments, the moments that seem so significant, right? And so for the majority of our experience, we're fighting against it, thinking I should only experience as good. And it seems like everyone else is experiencing that but me. Because, and God forbid you go on social media and everyone's putting their highlight reel on there. And you start to think, my God, everyone else's experience is great. And mine, I must be the only one that has mundane moments. And so we take the mundane moments and we make them unpleasant moments because we think we shouldn't be happening. We think we shouldn't be having them. And we're grasping the me that wants the pleasant experience, the highs experience, right? The grasping at this and the pushing back on the mundane moments, right? And we wonder why we're unhappy. I mean, the mundane moments are fantastic. There's not a lot going on. Where you're creating a spreadsheet, you're uploading the video on Insight Timer, you are doing the dishes, you're making the meal, you're taking the dogs for a walk. Like, that's what's happening. And when you're not pushing back on it, and when you're not trying to grasp to get to the next, I got to finish walking the dog so I can get back and get to dinner. When that goes away, the idea of a me that's going to be happy when it gets over there, whatever it is you're doing is actually quite pleasant. There's no pressure, right? You're just doing some kind of mundane task. You're paying a bill. No one's asking you to cut off your arm to pay the bill. It's like, just paying the bills. Maybe you got to move some money around. Oh, maybe I need to eat some ramen noodles for a week. I need to cut back. Okay, no problem. That's what I need to do. Right? But we're no longer believing in the little voice that keeps saying, no, this is a problem. Look, everyone else is having these high experiences. Why aren't you? Something's wrong in your life. Something's wrong. You're missing something, because it's always coming from a place of lack. So it's just seeing this again and again and again. So to Geetha, again, to just your question back there, for everyone, it's seeing. It's not trying to get into the present moment. It's seeing what keeps taking you out of the present moment. That's where you want your focus to be. What's taking me out of the present moment? And every time you can recognize that, again, name it. Here's the itch. You can just call it the itch. Just wanting to be somewhere else. Like, again, sometimes that itch of just wanting to be somewhere else, it's like, oh, I can't quite, maybe it's a little anxiety, a little stress, but it's like, oh, I can't quite figure out what it is. But, oh, there's the itch. Just the recognizing of the itch takes you out of it. Creates a little bit of space between you and it. Okay, I've recognized it's here. Or I've recognized the fear is here. I've recognized the anxiety is here. I've recognized the feeling of being unsafe is here. Even though I'm perfectly safe, but I've recognized the feeling is here. Okay, and now that's the recognize R of rain. Now you've got to bring your attention, and allow what's here, accept what's here. Breathe into it, feel. I would probably put R-F-A-I-N, because I do think the feeling, or maybe R-A-F-I-N, Rafin, because the feeling, like the allowing is the feeling, but I cannot overemphasize feeling what's here. That's real. Whatever physical sensations, that's real. The story's never real. The separate self isn't real, but the feelings are real. And we're so reactive out of the feelings. Oh, but I don't feel good, and I want to stay attached to the story about it. Feel safer. No, it does. It's not making you feel safer. It's making you feel worse. Come in and feel it. Fear is a physical sensation. The itch is a physical sensation. It is not. It's like taking a physical sensation that we might say on an unpleasant scale is a 10. The moment you recognize that with the story is a 10, the moment you recognize that and you come in and feel it, it drops down to like a 5 or a 6 right away. So much of the suffering is in that story. And then you just come into the physicals. Oh, when you breathe and you're with it. Oh. Ooh. You can investigate. Wow, what was happening a moment ago? I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about what happened earlier. Oh, just rehashing things, looking for something. Oh, yeah, that's what it was doing. It was just looking for problems. Oh, the separate self was just looking for problems. That's what was happening. Oh, maybe there's a feeling you did something like, oh, okay, let's have some self-compassion. Keep being with what's here. And you might even feel sometimes there's something to do. Very little, but sometimes there's something to do. There's a feeling that keeps arising, and there's some like, oh, maybe I did hurt that person's feelings, and perhaps I do want to just reach out, but not from the perspective of my ego's hurt, and now my ego can't stand not feeling good about itself, but just from the perspective of, oh yeah, I think I might have. I'm so sorry if I hurt you earlier. I'm so sorry. I just was reflecting on my words, and I feel like they might have been hurtful, and if so, please know that wasn't my intention. Right? Not, oh, please forgive me. I feel so terrible. Make me feel better again. It's just from, oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. Right? Or just something's, you've got to be doing something. There's something to do. And it's like, oh, okay, I can keep beating myself, kind of getting lost in that fear because I'm not doing it. It's like, oh, okay, I do need to get up and start working on that project. I do need to be doing something. Okay, but now you're doing it not from a place of fear, not from a place of I'm going to get something on the other end of it. Just from being present and realizing, yeah, the conditions are happening that I had said I was going to prepare a meal for someone, bring them something, and now you're doing it, but you're present. It's like, yeah, that's what's happening. Maybe you're a little tired, but it's like, yeah, there's a little tiredness here, but I said I would do it, so I'm going to do it. Okay, now I can do it, but not with that extra weight. Not with that extra weight of the separate self, of the taskmaster. Yes, and rice and beans is very good, Sandy. Yeah, actually, I made a whole thing last week of Mexican rice. I make my own salsa and black beans, and I had that several nights for dinner. I love that. I love rice and beans. So. Thank you, Melissa. It's good to see you again. Thank you. Oh, and Amanda, I'll just address this real quick and then we'll wrap up, where you're just saying it's so hard to know what is fake because AI can pretend to be anything. Again, reconditioning humanity thoughts. AI is not human. I mean, I'm just going to say that. AI is a large language model. It is not human. I know a lot of people, I've been hearing, first of all, we've been hearing people marrying their AI. Or even using AI for a therapist. I would not use AI as a therapist or spiritual teacher. It's a good taskmaster. But even then, you've always got to check what it's coming back with. And yeah, be careful. I do think that we have to be careful with AI, to just keep remembering that it's a tool. It's a tool. It's not human, and it shouldn't be. I mean, actually, I'm a little mixed because I know some people are really desperate are very lonely. But I do think, actually, I would say using AI as a substitute for human companionship, and even most loneliness I find is the separate self. I mean, people can be surrounded by others, but if you're lost in your thoughts and worries, you can feel so lonely. I do find that, and I'm alone so much of the time, and I don't feel lonely at all. I probably would have in my 20s living this lifestyle because I was so lost in the separate self then. But yeah, it's so much of even our loneliness is a state of mind. And I think if we start using AI as a substitute for friendships as well, we're not focusing on the real problem, that we're not connecting with individuals. We're not getting out of our house. We're focusing on the computer. And I think if we see AI as having human traits, I think that does us a real disservice. I'm not sure if that's at all what you were talking about, Amanda. I'm not sure, but I don't know. That's what came in here. So, okay. And Monica, so good to see you as well. So good to see you. Yes, arroz and frijoles. Yeah, I love rice and beans. And I make this fantastic salsa. I just love it. It's a super spicy salsa with habanero, and I mean, I eat it all the time. It's so good. Yeah, and Alice, just learning to cherish your solitude. Yeah. I do find, and everyone has to do what's best for their, what works best for them. Like what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another person. But I do find, in general, having some space in your day, having some silence, can be very beneficial. If we're always on the go, if we're always planning, if we're always needing to be somewhere, then it's going to be very difficult to see how the separate self is taking over. The busier your life, the busier the mind. So even for people that are extroverts and really do enjoy a lot of social stimulation, I would, because even extroverts can get burned out, I'd try and find some activities that maybe you're with other people, but maybe there's a little more quiet, a little more solitude. Or not solitude, a little more quiet, a little more silence around. Because it just helps to see how we keep getting taken out of the present moment. If we're always on the go, it's just hard. It just tends to be running the show. Yeah. Okay, so I think this might be a good place to wrap us up. Again, thank you guys for your understanding on Sunday. My apologies for Starlink, for having the bad cable, but it was kind of amazing that my neighbor here had a brand new Starlink cable that I could use, but I had to get up to the roof, and I had to come through the wall. It actually did take several hours to get it back up again. So we will be back on next Sunday at noon, and we will do this again. So thanks, Philippa. Thank you, Michelle. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you for always bringing your humor, Sandy. I love it. And thank you, Monica. Good to see you. Sounds like you're going to have a visit from Sandy for some rice and beans. And thank you, Nina. Oh, I'm so glad. Nina, I'm so glad. I think we've seen you here before, Nina. I think so. And thanks, Libby Lou. Thank you, Lindsay. And Amanda, thank you for all your great comments. And Annette. And Nath. Good to see you. And Geetha. Oh, and enjoy Mount Shasta this week, Alice. That must be lovely up there. Must be very nice up there. And Ruth, thank you again for the donation. Very much appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, okay. And I think, okay, if I didn't say your name, it's only because I can't see everyone here unless you write in the comments. I can't see who's here. So thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. I so appreciate all of you being here. And just keep your eye out for that itch. Keep your eye out for the itch. To keep seeing what you're not so you can keep coming back. Again, see what you're not, and then you're present again. Don't try and get into the present moment. See what keeps taking you out of the present moment.